How long do you think it will be? You've got an IMF agreement now. How long till Sri Lanka is kind of back to a reasonable growing economy? What's the time frame? Because, as you know, tough medicine, people can't take that for very long. So how long till things are back on the rails?
We have to get a major foreign exchange sources turning again. Firstly, is the remittances from abroad, which had come down. It seems to be restoring. More and more money is coming every month. Second, it's going to be tourism next year. Tourism will be one. The problem is going to be exports, especially apparel, since the European economy is down and the US is down. Basically, apparel export this quarter is down to about 25%. It's not only Sri Lanka, Bangladesh is also affected. So the prosperity of the Western economy is determining. But I think by end of 2024, we'll be back to normal. The funding agencies will all get in and help us once the debt restructuring is over. I plan to finalize the debt restructuring by September. As I go back, the Parliament will vote on Sri Lanka's debt restructuring strategy once that is on. But what I want to completely liberalize, the structural reforms are being done. Go ahead, immediately liberalize the economy and then ensure that more investments come into Sri Lanka. In the long term, you need investments to shift the balance of trade in your favor. So might as well start that now. But I am confident by 2024 we'll have much better position.
And in the end, what you're saying is, I think, a message for all of us. Obviously, less serious economic problems in our countries, but challenges nevertheless. The only way out, really long term, is a private sector-led, market-oriented.
Market-oriented, trade-integrated growth strategy. That's all that's available. I don't think there's any other solution. Cannot be for thousands of years. So why should it come?
Well, Winston Churchill, as you know, famously said that all systems of government are terrible except for democracy, and we constantly see in our populations that, they've got to try socialism, protectionism, corporatism, populism until they finally discover that conservatism is actually the only way to grow the economy. Let me change topics, though, because obviously a lot of the discussion here is global affairs, foreign policy. Truth of the matter is, although we're a diverse group, overwhelmingly we represent the global north. You're from the global south. Given where you are in the world, given that position, where do you see the future of Sri Lanka's foreign policy? What are its strategic allies, and what are the risks it faces in the next decade?
Sri Lanka's strategic allies in Asia mainly would be the southern Asian countries. We also reach out to the Middle East. India, Japan, China would be the key, and ASEAN with the three strategic allies. And then Australia also, with whom we have relations since independence. In the West, we look at Europe and the UK and the Commonwealth countries. So that will be the numbers we are dealing with. South Africa is dealing with some East African countries.
And in a world where, partly due to trade pressures, COVID, especially now the war in Ukraine, we see a growing polarization or conflict between the United States and its allies and China and its allies. Where does a country positioned where you are, at the level of economic development you are, where do you see yourselves fitting, and how do you navigate that kind of world?
We basically will take the position of the global south and of Asia there. Both US and China are necessary. Both the Indo-Pacific and the Belt and Road Initiative, plus the ASEAN outlook on Indo-Pacific. All three we are committed to. the rise of China has led to the rise of Asia. So our success depends on ensuring that China's economic development continues. But that's not enough for our part of the world. We need ASEAN and India. Given another 20-25 years, you'll see the growth of India and the ASEAN countries as well as the Middle East. So we've been able to balance ourselves. That's what small countries have to do. But we also value our relationship with US goes on. And we have open dialogue with them. We have no issue. Really, the Sri Lanka foreign policy has been not to allow militarization of Indian. But we have supported US from the very beginning of having a base in Yugoslavia. And now we are asking everyone to work with us in Sri Lanka and to be the chairman of IORA to ensure freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean. But we also stand for freedom of navigation in the Pacific. And the three main issues have to be resolved. It can't be done by one group dominating over the others. China must sit down with the ASEAN countries and resolve those key issues. There has to be a reduction of tension, East and Sea. And finally, a reduction of tension again on the island. So we've committed ourselves.
I want to dig a little deeper on the China question.
Yeah.
And I hear this all the time in England that, America's important for our security, China's development's critical to our economy, we have to navigate both. And obviously, Chinese investment, Chinese business has been important for Sri Lanka. On the other hand, from what I can see, big problems with the debt obligations that China has left. Just tell a comment on that.
China was the largest creditor, bilateral creditor. The largest creditors are the private investors. China was hesitant of how they were going to handle the debt restructuring. They took time. While the US came up with Japan the first, India had touched with the 3.5 billion loan. We utilized about 2.5 billion, and US came up. So with that, we started moving. We got the Paris Club. We had India and China outside. Then India joined the Paris Club. Meantime, we were talking with the Chinese, got more complicated because of the party conference in November. But at the end of it, they said, no, we are not well too, we will be with you. Then Sri Lanka, we had discussed it earlier with the IMF, we suggested the common platform. India joined the platform, China did. So China attended as an observer the meeting of the common platform, and they said they also have bilateral discussions with us, but more than us, they are having bilateral discussions with the IMF. So IMF keeps all parties informed, we keep all parties informed. At the moment, I would say both China, the platform creditors and China are working, but it took time, and I do not know how this will work with the other debtors. In the case of Sri Lanka, we had a good relationship with China, with the others, but when it comes, so you have to come up with some mechanism, and as we were speaking about that, they are in Paris.
I'm going to ask you two other questions, then we're running a bit behind. But I do want to ask you, because it's such an important point of discussion here, once again, from a very different global south perspective, and your country has had important trade relations with both Ukraine and Russia. Tell us how you see that, what you want to have happen.
Well, most of the global south again have kept out of this. You have taken a very strong stand. Part of ASEAN is also, some of them are working, most of them are neutral, but some of them have voted with the resolution. No, our worry has been from the very beginning that we should not have come to this level. Could have been sorted out one way or another. And we want to ensure that the conflict will not expand, that the conflict can be settled. We are quite worried about it. as one of the others said, every major war has started in Europe. Let's not spirit ours here. Our commitment is here. We are committed to the sovereignty of Ukraine. There is no question of that. It's how are we going to resolve it? And Russia can have setbacks, it can have defeat, but you can't finally get into Russia. So that's the truth. So we would like, I know you still have different views, but in the south it is, let's contain it and then see how it can be brought to close. In that way, we welcome the visit of Secretary Blinken to Beijing. President Ramaphosa has led a delegation into Russia and Ukraine, but we want to see the end of hostilities. We are not seeing the end of war. There will be negotiations, it will take time, but a lot of the countries are affected with fuel and with food. That's very hard on the African countries, especially.